back to this one could be on either the Brotherhood or the Darren Riley account, probably a balance of both. I'm joined today by my good friend Leee Riley. It's got a great last name.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me down.
Great to have you on. You may or may not have seen Leee on the Brotherhood socials. He was at our retreat last year. He's become a really good friend of mine. I love attending his breathwork classes. I honestly think it's the best breathwork I've been to. If there's anyone else who have been to breathwork in the past, I'm sorry, but I have enjoyed Lee's. And I think because it has such a, part of today's topic is talking about the modern Celtic warrior's guide to breath mastery. And it's that connection to Ireland and the using of the Gaeltacht and, the ancient language and Celtic shamanic traditions.
Yes.
And I mean, there's a lot of people, and there'll be lads who are watching this and they see, dudes like Jake Paul or other people in that space. I wouldn't necessarily say he's what he's doing wouldn't necessarily be a high performing athlete.
Yeah. We seen a lot of outwork video, him breathing in the ring.
No.
He just does it all wrong then.
Okay, yeah. There you go. But I know Lucas Mack, who used to be his facilitator, awesome guy. He does the O2 breathwork or oxygen
advantage. Yeah. That's the high performance training that's the most prevalent in the breathwork world at the minute.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Leee, I suppose jumping on today, especially for lads and who are attracted to this channel or drawn to this channel in terms of, the high performing, they're really entrepreneurial, just like ourselves, building a mission, building a kingdom, and at times can, I'm sure, have instances of anxiety and extreme stress.
Yeah.
Like from your experience, how has the breath changed your life?
In many, many ways. I used to get overwhelmed a lot.
Yeah.
And I used to be afraid and I used to be anxious. And I think they're all key parts of being an entrepreneur and starting your own thing. And it's about being able to find the tools that can help you break past that anxiety, to break past that fear, and to not worry about getting overwhelmed, and to be able to just ground and center yourself, And when many people I've worked with last year, they're all very capable, but they're all susceptible to that overwhelming stress that we all can go through in life. And using the breath to just reset things a little bit, give yourself a better starting point to act from a place of focus and clarity. That's going to be very important, I think, for everyone, and especially men as well, since we're a lot more disconnected to our bodies than women. And that's just plain and simple fact.
Yeah. No, when I hear you, and I think it is so powerful. I mean, I was having a conversation today with a guy, Niall. He used to play for the Irish national football team and is the CEO and runs a big company. And he was saying he does breathwork every day.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to hear. And I think it's so crucial. And he said he started it when he was through COVID, and it was the stress. Then it became part of a ritual. And I think the more we understand the nervous system and the ability to move from your sympathetic to your parasympathetic, and by regulating your body and your emotions, and as we would have said in the last video, the importance of that emotional containment with yourself.
Yeah.
So it's that space for you to be able to acknowledge and feel your emotions. And also that to start the day off on the right foot.
Yeah, and to make sure that you don't spill out onto your day from an unregulated nervous system. My favourite videos on the internet at the minute are the ones of the ladies frantically cleaning Kuka out of Kenta, and then they stop and they go and they clean it at a calmer and slower pace.
Yeah.
I've done everything in my life in that frantic manner, and rushing is another form of hesitation because you just want to get the thing over and done with, and that's no way to be. So being able to regulate yourself so you're not acting from a fight or a flight system, and you're in a more regulated state, then things just happen easier. You don't have to be fighting against life. Things flow. And being a big fan of Bruce Lee all my life and wondering about getting into that flow state to be like water, I was like, how do you do it? And it's through the breath.
That's so true. That's it. Because that is true flow state. It brings the balance of focus and discipline whilst also remaining in a calm state. Because even when it comes to, because there's a balance, right? Yes, there's the law of attraction, but there's law of action.
Yeah.
And this is the more I've understood. It's like, okay, you need systems and structure and strategy, and then also consistent execution in order to bring anything into reality.
Yes.
But it's the energy that you execute with that is also the golden key.
Yeah.
So it's like you can have all the strategy, all the discipline in the world, but if you're operating from a fearful state, you're still going to, the actions are not going to be nearly as optimal than if you're acting from, a regulated state. Now, that doesn't mean that, we're going to be regulated the whole time, because it's extremely unreasonable.
Yeah.
But it's normal, but it's then how can I utilize these tools to bring myself back to calm and center when a trigger comes up, different scenarios, say a bill comes through or we're moving into an uncertain time. And especially as people go into the new year, there's that excitement, yes?
Yeah.
But also there can be that almost like trepidation, like, oh, fuck, what's going to happen?
Yes, what you have handled this year.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the whole resolution setting thing as well, is that it's the start of something again. I bet I'll do that thing I've been putting off. And breathwork should be able to give you the power within yourself to just take a step back, to be more patient and compassionate with yourself, knowing that you're not in a race against anyone else. Especially stepping into the space of being an entrepreneur and starting your own business and everything else, you're actually stepping out of the rat race. So take the foot off the gas for a little bit, and realize where it is that you need to act from. And for me, a great part of my own routine is making sure that I'm a bit more intentional with my days. And that's something that I took from the Brotherhood retreat that we done last year, that if I'm a bit more intentional with whatever it is I'm going to do, I'm going to bring that energy about with me. And I'm starting off on the right foot, and whether that's in an orderly fashion or a chaotic fashion, we can utilize the energy in different ways when we need it in different ways, and that's the one thing. Sometimes we transmute one feeling or emotion into another one. Other times we just allow that energy to ride through and allow it to power us through whatever it is. Although I spent a life riddled with anxiety, I didn't always look at it as a negative. I used it as an excited fuel that was always there with me. And it's only in my late 20s that it started actually getting in my way. And then I had to really find a tool to be able to regulate that,
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. And, bringing in this sort of Celtic warrior, initiation or thread and almost mythic understanding, because I know you love Irish myth too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I'm only coming to understand it. What do you feel the connection is? Because we were speaking before about this land, even the lads who are watching this from Ireland, of, the battlefields that have been on the land, the trauma that's gone through land.
Yeah.
And I mean, the men who fought in those wars and how it's passed down through each generation onwards. And then how that then integrates into the warrior's way.
Yeah. So even for how it is that we've been brought up and moved through life, I've been saying to people for a few years now that the trauma can come up through the land. And it's just literally because of where I live in the Boyne Valley in Drogheda in Ireland, that there's a huge battle that took place there with Oliver Cromwell and stuff. And I can only imagine the amount of people that were killed and murdered and slaughtered on the ground there. And the ground will always remember. The same as I say to people, the body keeps the score, the earth will remember as well, And just the stories that I've heard and the interpretations of things that I've made up in my own little mind, that epigenetically was still kind of remembering those times of battle. But we look around ourselves and there is no swords or shields to be held, So how is it that we can actually access that warrior energy? And how can we connect to it in this modern day without actually having to be violent, where it can be a lot more adversarial to how the way society has been created?
Or fighting for like a purpose bigger than yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I know when it comes down to the archetype work that we have, the king, the lover, magician, and the warrior. And I know I was in that warrior energy a lot of the time in my life when I was younger, and I was fighting against the system and using it in the wrong way nearly, I found, It's about how can you get that energy and use it in the right way so your life doesn't spiral out of control.
Yeah.
That spirals in the right manner. Yeah, you know. So I believe everything is loops in this world. Even this the year, you know, from one end to the next is a loop. But you can create it to be an upward spiral if you're able to integrate the previous year, step up and move beyond the things that held you back. And then when you're on that upward trajectory of a spiral and you know where you are, you can just continue on it, you know. And it's the breath that will allow you to connect to that deeper sense of your authentic self, that will have you feeling capable, that you can achieve what it is you need to achieve. So the number one thing I just say to everybody is sit down, shut up, stop, breathe. Just become aware of everything for a moment. Give yourself a few minutes and then move on. It's the number one way to do anything right for it.
And I love it. Because even when you look at like the warriors way, right? Or even warrior traditions throughout time, yes, the Celtics, but even I'm thinking of like the samurai, right? Where everything was precise and it was focused. It's like you cannot be focused if your brain is going fucking haywire. Isn't it? The system is haywire. So that's why it is so valuable. And then even doing things like the cold exposure, and the way through to navigate that into utilizing the breath. The same thing.
This is it, because you're going to test the resilience within yourself when you get into the cold water. You sit in this hot sauna for extended period of time. When you engage in a movement practice, but you use restricted breathing, like these are all ways to challenge yourself to build your own inner resilience, so you can become more of that warrior in your life. So you can kind of take life by the balls and say, no, I'm taking it this way, instead of following the status quo and being a sheep and just following the crowd, going along with it. Like, and it's like, no, we need to be able to break free from that. Even as you said, mentioned the samurai there, you break that word down, it means to serve others. And they want to uphold themselves in a manner of excellence. So when the time to serve comes, they're not going to let anyone down.
Yeah.
And I know a big thing for you in the brotherhood is sharing your gifts with others, you know. So that's literally what I kind of do by stepping into the breathwork facilitator role, by showing people the power of their breath. I'm not doing anything. I'm letting them meet their breath, meet their own capacity and their own capability, so they can move forward. And then hopefully they can find their dawn and serve others. Dawn is the Irish word for your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, D-A for that N. And through my experience and practice with the breathwork, I feel I found mine.
And that's it. It's like you alchemize your pain into purpose through the stillness, and it's like through the breath you're connecting back to who you are. But the answer's always innately within.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all you've got to do is follow those golden Easter eggs, the enthusiasm. You know, it's like find what skills did you learn throughout those hardships, or even realize, okay, because when there's hard times, it provides enough energy or enough pain or fuel in order for you to find the solution.
Yes.
And then in finding the solution, you gain a gift. And then the true value and the true meaning of that gift is then give that to others.
Exactly. Yeah. If I feel empowered where I once didn't, if you ever feel empowered, I can help. Yeah. Simple as that. That's my offering to people. It's a hard sell, you know, because I can offer it to everybody. It works for anybody. Do you breathe? Well, breathwork might help you. I don't know. And in so many different capacities as well. Whether it's just grounding yourself to regulate yourself so you can be at your best. Whether it's optimizing your breathing so you're overwhelmed less, and you can couple that with sports performance. All of these tools and techniques are there for us to play around with, you know. It's not about using one and saying this is the be all and end all. There's officially over 150 different forms of breathwork that have nearly been trademarked, you could say. And for me, it's about stripping away all the bullshit, coming back to the ancient practices that they are, and present them to people in a modern way. Like, no need for me to twist it this way or that way. It's there. Just be with your breath, simply, you know. And the results I've been seeing with people over the last 12 months or so have been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Some people have come a few times to the classes and gotten great results and feel that they have found a base for their own practice, and others just like the environment, they like the community, they like their surroundings in the area, and it's been life changing for me. Absolutely.
Man, I love it. And you know what just came to mind, because I know you are a visual person too, is do you have a bit of a process that you feel you could break down for the viewers on explaining the breath and your approach to it?
Yeah. So the number one thing I always say with people is bringing awareness to the breath. And as you've been in one of my classes, you've experienced that's the first thing that you do. I ask people to kindly notice their breath.
Yes.
Not be looking at it, scrutinizing it and judging it, but kindly be with your breath and see how it is that you are breathing. And a lot of people are very disconnected from it. Are you breathing into your chest or are you breathing into your belly right now? You can check this by just closing your eyes down, taking a breath and seeing how it is you breathe. And I'm going to give you an exercise now to show you how you can influence how you breathe. So you can take your hands away from your body now, and I want you to place your thumb against your index finger. Squeeze it like that. How are you breathing? Yeah, I see the shoulders moving. You're probably breathing a little bit more into the chest right now. And now get your thumbs and push them up again, your ring finger. No, that's the one down now. And now you just have to breathe a couple of breaths. Have you noticed the subtle shift that you breathe more your belly now? It's very, very subtle. And without having the required levels of awareness, some people might not even be able to experience that subtle change. There can be lots of tension held in the body, lots of wound up energy. And without being able to be aware of it, how can you change it? So that's why the awareness is always the first thing that I get people to bring into the session. Now squeeze your toe up again, your index finger again. Sit and notice the subtle change. In ancient practices, putting your hands in certain ways are known as mudras, and they open up certain meridians and channels within your body. This isn't something I've trained extensively, something I've seen in the YouTube short and I've practiced with. And when you're able to move your hands in certain ways and notice the subtle shifts within your body, you become more in tune with yourself. And that's what's always about, connecting more to your authentic self. And you're back in the room.
Oh,
The breath is amazing, isn't it?
man, it's awesome, you know, and it's like what's coming through too, and speaking to the lads as well, it's like looking at these as like cheat codes in the game of life. Like these are hacks, and there's certain rules to the game.
Yeah.
And then the more you understand the rules, you can connect with the character, and the more you connect with the character, the more you have clarity of what the path is ahead.
This is it, because you know the character's story, you know the character's goals. You'll also be able to center yourself so you're not distracted by any of the 10,000 things that exist out there in the world, you know? And it's not our fault. We're built with all these glands and chemicals and hormones moving through our bodies, and we have these impulses and compulsions that sometimes we just can't fight. But do enough breath work and you'll be able to truly connect with your body, rise above your impulses and act before reality. I heard that on a podcast and it blew me away. How is it that you can act before reality? Well, we go from reacting to responding. We allow things to happen, take a breath, and then go. Instead of going before the gun even goes off, you know, and tripping over yourself, losing your foot and losing your grounding, you know. So there's a technique that I teach everyone as well, which really helps them drop into our bodies during the breathwork session, or we do it now, right? It's called the physiological sigh. Everyone can do this. Anyone can do it at any time throughout the day, and it sends a calm and a relaxing signal to the nervous system. So it basically involves a double inhale and then a long extended exhale. So breathing in through your nose, you fill up your lungs all the way. And you feel the lungs are full, you pause and take an extra sip of air, and this expands the outer dimension of your lungs, and you let it slowly fall out of your mouth then. If you do that 2 more times now, right, do it with me, right, breathing in, take an extra sip, then slowly fall away. And then one more down, then breathing all the way in, take that extra sip, and then slowly fall away. Feel like your ears getting a little bit warm, the shoulders drop a little bit. And that there sends a signal to your nervous system to say, I want to shift from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic state. I want to explain that to the viewers as well, because even during my training, I got the two of them mixed up.
Do you want to draw as you're doing it?
I could draw it.
Yeah, we'll bring that up.
So the sympathetic nervous system is something that you will use when you need to fight or run. You can use red things. And then what you do is you're able to utilize that energy. Sometimes adrenaline gets pumped into your system for a very good reason. So this is the sympathetic nervous system. And what we can do is, I don't know how to spell that, is realize that the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that we need switched on the majority of the time. And the reason for that is from this state that is the rest and digest state that we learn the most, that we can take the most clear action, and we can be a lot more focused. So we are in this a lot of the time due to how modern society is running. Everything's fast-paced, go, go, go. I possibly pick up my phone about 100 times a day, Stops me from looking in the fridge and the cupboards when there's no food in that way. That was a different habit I have now. But that searching or that looking for something is always going to be there. I can slow myself down and get into my parasympathetic state to be able to relax myself, to feel grounded, and to say, am I really hungry? Do I need to go look in an empty cupboard for the 5th time today? Or asking yourself, am I really that angry? Am I really that happy? Am I really okay with the job I'm in, with the relationship I'm in? Without being able to get yourself into that calm state, you're going to be in this heightened state the whole time, and it's going to be fight or flight. It's going to be life or death. Don't quit the job, you're going to die. Don't leave the relationship because you're going to die. I even bring it back to even school time. If you remember being in primary school, you want to make friends, be afraid to go talk to people. And even that fear of death is present within that. I don't really express this to too many people, but I don't want to go over and talk to that person because I'm going to sound like an idiot. I'll be left alone forever and then I'll die. That's not what we want. Death isn't the end result of every single little action that you take. But it governs everything, It governs everything. I can't go over and talk to that girl and ask her out on a date because I'd be embarrassed. And then if I get embarrassed, I might die. So stepping beyond that, not being in that state of where it's all or nothing, where it's fight or flight, and being able to go I'm living it. Let's just give it a go. Because there's no chance of death here. There's actually a chance of me living, of me creating life for myself, by taking these opportunities.
Well, and that's overcoming what Pressfield would call the resistance.
Yeah.
Well, it's knowing the functions of the ego mind, which is always telling you what's wrong. It's trying to keep you safe.
Yeah.
But then there's a greater XP that comes online when you overcome that.
Yeah.
But it's as you're saying, the value here is knowing that, okay, well, if my body's in survival, I'm most likely in my sympathetic state. So how do I override? Well, not override that, but how do I bring balance to it?
Yeah.
It's by bringing in the parasympathetic.
Yeah.
Through breath work and those aspects. Because even what I'm seeing too, and I remember there's an old called the caduceus. So there was a staff, and you'll see it actually on a lot of emergency vehicles where there's 2 serpents flowing up. Ooh. And then you've got the serpents flowing that way.
Yes.
So, and then usually at the top there's these angel wings. Mm-hmm. And same here. So the magic is then on this caduceus you've got the 7 chakras. So and then the crown. So the way I've seen it is this is the 7 levels in the game of life. And then the balance is you can see the 2 serpents, one being your sympathetic and then the other being your parasympathetic, or one being your masculine and one being your feminine channels, right? So what bringing in, as the more you connect to yourself and then the ability to acknowledge your emotions and emotionally regulate, it allows the energy to flow in motion which is emotion. And then therefore the energy starts to move through the wheels. It's no longer stuck. When it's stuck, energy causes dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
And then therefore, when you have that flow of energy, you feel connected to yourself, but also it's connection to your highest self. Two wings are born.
Yeah.
So then you start to become a clear channel between you and the ground and the earth and the universe. And that I see as, yes, there's a, like you can see the literal map, like these are ancient teachings, right? And that's what we're seeking to do too. And what I love is like, how do you take these and like make them applicable to today? This is it, you know, and then that's it. It's like, that's the magic as well of what you're doing is once you understand, it's like a map.
It is a map.
Yeah.
And even what you're actually showing there, let me just expand on that there, where David Hawkins has his map of consciousness. And we can imagine just drawing it like this. And you can imagine even us splitting it up in whatever way we need to. But think of it as the same way as the chakras. You know, with the sacral chakra at the bottom, and that is the base of all life. That's where life is created. That's where the life force is created. That's where our semen is produced. That's where the eggs get released. And that's where the fertilization of life takes place. But growing up in Ireland, there can be a lot of shame around us. Oh yeah, no, there can be a lot of shame surrounding that area. Even in the course I completed last year about movement, and he brought the attention to the pelvis and to the hips. He says, now Irish people are a little bit funny about that area.
Yeah, it's like the Catholic shame.
Because of the Catholic guilt, because of the Catholic shame. It's like, don't stop touching yourself, like, you know? Yeah. And then above that then is the guilt then. And we think about the guilt of the shame of the thing that we've done. And then we can be a little bit apathetic before we get that way there. And that apathy is feeling nothing for yourself or for others. But then as we move along, we get to the middle part of the scale here, where we can reach courage. And even looking at that as in the chakras, that's where our solar plexus is, right?
Which then is purpose and reason. What was the word you used for purpose? The Irish?
Oh, the Irish word for purpose?
Yeah. You just had it there before.
Dawn. Oh, the dawn, yeah.
The dawn.
Yeah, dawn, yeah, dharma, yeah. Yeah. So that's, in order for you to act out on that, you need to be courageous.
That's it, which is, as we said, it's overcoming fear. Courage is not the opposite.
It is. Don't stop being unspotted. And imagine within your solar plexus, that's where the central nervous system is, and that's where we can feel it the most. You know, my anxiety used to have me feeling sick to the pit of my stomach because it's like, don't go over there. You know, not knowing the opportunities that may arise.
Yeah.
Courage is that breaking point where we can say that I can. We can then begin to move up the scale of consciousness. So then imagine then moving from your ability to be courageous in life to then moving up into your heart chakra, where you're able to experience love.
And you know what I'm hearing here? It's so fucking cool because it's like you can hear the map. So courage comes through when you make it about something that's bigger than yourself.
Outside of yourself.
So then that's the bridge to love. You step outside of yourself. So these are all self, me.
And then as soon as you go beyond that, it's love and it's Christ consciousness. Love is about what you can give and not what you can get. I'm in a committed 5-year relationship. Before that relationship came about, I was going to get a dog.
Yeah.
So from spending nearly 25 years of my life wanting to be loved, wanting to love others, seeing what I could give and seeing what I could get back, I never really got anywhere. And the moment I threw the towel in and says, no, I'm grand, I don't need a partner, I'm thinking about just get a dog, you know, and I could look after the dog and be compassionate and loving towards the dog. The dog's going to give me companionship back, but it's not going to give me anything I ask for. That's, I think, the moment the universe says, you are ready.
Correct.
Because I did not want someone for a reason or for something. And because I was able to just love for love's sake, then the right person was put in my way.
Sorry, guys. It just switched off there on us.
Oops.
But the battery's about to die on that bad boy. So we feel like we are going to round it up here. But on that final note there and on the aspects that we were talking about, what would be your final message to the lads in regards to breath? Because again, we're going to have a link below if you click on it that's going to have a great little tool that you can utilize yourself.
My advice for anyone looking to connect with themselves or make any sort of change in your lives and to use the breath, to utilize the breath and optimize it, firstly becoming aware of it, and then understand that using coherent breathing is your number one tool to be brilliant every day. That's breathing in for 4 seconds and breathing out for 4 seconds. A lot of people breathe in for 1 or 2 seconds, if even, and breathe out for the same. That's fast, shallow breathing into your chest. You need to breathe deep into your belly. Full breaths in. Not blowing all your breath out. Only through your nose. And that's the starting point. We've done the physiological sigh earlier on, which is the double inhale and exhale. And then, of course, then there's the breathwork classes that I hold every Saturday and Sunday at the Secret Garden Sauna in Drama. So if you want to learn more of it, you can come along, do a 45-minute breathwork journey and find out what the whole hullabaloo is about. And from there, you can definitely learn more. And yeah, some people that someone speaking to you about this.
No, that's for sure. And I'll also link Lee's social media below. He is moving into the online world too. We're offering on there. So just feel free to reach out to him if you have any questions about that, and he'd be more than happy to help. But my friend, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Aho. Merci. Beautiful. Alrighty, guys, we will see you on the next one. Yeah, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear what you gained value from. This is just both. Comment below, give us a like and follow, and let's fucking go.